All right, welcome back to Bands and Beers. This is the podcast where we crack open a local beer and sit down with some of the biggest artists from the greater New York City area. I'm Nikki, and back from Belgium is...
Kyle, how you doing? I'm here. I'm back. Belgium was great. It was technically a work trip, but for me, it felt more like a beer tasting heaven. I tried probably 15 different beers.
15.
Couldn't possibly name them all, but I did take a picture on my phone of each and every beer that I tried. We're going to get that up on the Instagram so you guys can check out some of the cool things they got going over there. Lots of good vibes, lots of good times, lots of good beers. Didn't hate a single one. Just really, really fun. How about you, Nikki?
Yeah,
How you been doing? It's been a while.
I've been doing good, man. Everything's been awesome. I'll talk a little bit more about what I got up to during Memorial Day weekend, which will bring us to the beer that we're going to try today. But first, a little preview of the show. We're going to hang out with Kailie Simpson. She's a rock artist from Wayne, New Jersey. Her thousands of fans can't get enough of her incredible vocals and intimate lyrics. And also, she's coming straight from a plane. She's going to land and come right here. She was traveling for a show. And our beer today, we're trying a Pils Noir from Upward Brewing Company, which is a really interesting brewery that I will get into a little later. So Kyle, this is our life update segment. So your life has been Belgium for the last 3 weeks.
It has.
Tell us about the parts that you were in and historical sites that you may have seen.
Yeah.
Give us the lowdown on
Absolutely.
Belgium.
So my company is headquartered out of Liège, which is in the French part of the country. There's Dutch speakers, French speakers, English speakers. I honestly didn't really have I didn't have a hard time speaking to anyone. Most people knew English, which was really great. But it was the French part, so I heard a lot of French everywhere I went. Very French vibes from certain people. Some a little more standoffish than others, but I have nothing bad to say. I explored the city some with coworkers. We would have dinners almost every single night.
Nice.
Food
was good?
Food was great. A lot of great options. I did some exploring on the weekends. Got to visit Paris. Got to visit Aachen, Germany, and the Netherlands at Valkenburg and Maastricht, as well as Gilze. I didn't really practice the pronunciations, but I think that's as good as a white guy's going to
Better than I would do, honestly. I give you props.
Thank you. No, everything was beautiful. Just the sights, the scenery, the buildings, the history, the architecture, the culture, the streets, just lively with people drinking and eating, and it's so nice out. It's finally getting nice.
What a vibe!
It was an incredible time.
Yeah, I'm happy because you brought me back some chocolate that I just tasted, and that's probably the best chocolate that I've ever had in my life.
That's right. I brought some chocolate and some beers for us to try another day.
So generous. So generous.
Thank you.
Kyle, did you have any problems flying at all? Was it difficult? I know this time of year it can be crazy for international travel.
Yeah, especially with everything that was going on with Newark when I was leaving. We were worried, but luckily no real problems. The only problem I had was that the guy I sat next to on the way there was basically laying on top of me.
You got real close and personal.
That was a little uncomfortable. But that's basic economy. What are you gonna do?
Oh no, God! Did you have to pay for your carry-on or anything like that? What was the deal?
No. Luckily, work trip. They paid for everything.
What about bringing stuff back? Was that a pain in the ass?
Bringing stuff back was a little bit difficult because my free checked bag, 50-pound limit. All this beer and chocolate, put it over 50 pounds.
What did that ring you up?
I did have to pay €170 out of pocket.
€170? Come on, man.
They were just like, do you have a credit card? And I was like, I guess I don't have a choice. So.
Yikes. Well, you must really love us if you spent €170 to bring stuff back for us.
Listen, I figured it's worth it.
Thank you, Kyle. I feel very loved and cared for.
You're welcome.
You missed Memorial Day weekend.
I know. I was bummed. How was yours?
It was good. I went camping with a group of friends, and I went up. I had actually never been camping before. I am someone who's really outdoorsy and I hike a lot, but I've never camped. And this was like camping. So I didn't know what to expect. And I was like definitely over prepared. So I felt like, okay, I have all the stuff I need. But the place that I camped was so interesting. It was this place that was a hip campsite. So I guess hip camp is like Airbnb for camping. So they have all the sites on their website. And it was in Swan Lake, New York, which is near the Catskills. And it was this property owned by these two farmers, husband and wife. And they let their farm animals just roam around. Like
that must have been fun in the middle of the night when you're walking around outside the tent.
It was insane. It was called Beaverwood Farms. I'll have to shout them out because they were lovely. You could tell they love what they do. They love the animals that they take care of. And it was just an experience, man. Like, there was this one goat. Its name was Chaos. The second you brought
I wonder why.
Dude, the second the food was out, this guy would come down the mountain, and he would just be, like, ready to rumble with you. You know, he was a rough guy to fight off, but it was super fun. And while we were up there, on the way back down south, we wanted to stop and get some food and some drinks, and we found this brewery called Upward Brewing Company that is literally situated on public land that has hiking trails. So it was super, super cool. And we'll get into the brewery a little bit more later. But speaking of goats, I have to hand it over to Kyle for our beer news story, which is relevant to goats somehow. So
beer news. All right, beer news. Goat yoga. Try goat paired beer tasting. This is a fun story. A farm brewery in Vermont has gone viral for launching a new summer series, Pints and Hooves, a guided beer tasting featuring live goats as your drinking companions. What started as a happy accident, as in a goat wandering into a staff hangout, turned into a full-blown event where guests sip IPAs and saisons while goats roam freely, occasionally hopping onto picnic benches or cozying up next to the guests. The brewery says goats lower inhibitions and raise the vibe. One goat even has its own beer, Billy the Bach. Animal rights groups gave the program the green light as the goats are rescues and live on the property full time. And yes, there's a strict no petting during pouring rule.
No petting during pouring. Loud and clear. That makes sense. I like that precaution. It keeps the goats safe. And safety is important.
Safety is so important. Sounds like a really good vibe.
It sounds awesome. I would love to do that.
Goats are so fun. I love the way they climb stuff.
They're cute.
They're so cute and goofy.
They are.
So just drinking a beer with a goat sounds like a really, really good time.
Yeah, it's always fun to do something that's like silly sometimes too. Just like mix it up, and that sounds like a weird time that I would be into.
Yeah, I mean in Vermont, goats are basically people. So.
Is that what they say?
No.
Oh, man. Well, thank you for the beer news, Kyle. That was an awesome story, and maybe one that we'll even have to check out at some point. But moving into our brewery and beer tasting for today. Again, we are tasting from Upward Brewing Company. It's in Livingston Manor, New York, and it was founded in 2020 by a father and son duo. They wanted to blend their love of the outdoors with their love of beer. And it sits on these like hiking trails. And the name of the trail that's like near the entrance is called Beer Mountain. So very fun.
Love that.
And all of their beers are like really clean and well balanced and really something that you would want to drink after a hike. So they're like very light, nothing super heavy or crazy. They're not trying to do too much. Mm-hmm. So I really like them a lot. And their food was great too. So, New York brewery. So food's allowed to be made there, unlike New Jersey, which we talked about before. Food was great. I had this like fat grilled cheese. Oh. And after camping and doing a little hike, the beer and the grilled cheese.
Lifesaver. Let me tell you.
It was everything.
Yeah, actually, we went to a brewery in Belgium that was along a hiking trail, and I'll tell you,
crazy.
there is nothing like getting a little hike in, having some warm food and a good beer.
Hell yeah. The only thing missing is some goats.
That's right. We got to get some goats, some mountain goats. Come on.
Yeah. All right, Kyle, should we get these beers over here?
Let's do it.
Bring them across the bar. All right, cool. Take a couple of these off. One for you.
Thank you, thank you.
And one for me.
Catskill Mountains, New York. I like the very
Basic, but
it's
sleek.
It's sleek, simple, modern.
I actually didn't try this one while I was here, so I'm actually excited to have it. When I was there, I think I had their Kolsch, I believe. So I have not tried this yet, so you and I will be experiencing it for the first time together. So this is, again, their Pils Noir. It's a dark Pilsner. It has an ABV of 5.1 and an IBU of 27. So really low on the bitterness scale, which I sometimes like or sometimes don't. Kind of just depends on the whole profile for me. But the profile we should expect with this beer should be roasty twist on a classic Pilsner, notes of dark bread crust, cocoa, and a crisp, dry finish. Light in body, rich in flavor, perfect for sipping by a campsite or on a deck. I love that.
Some of my favorite places to drink a beer.
Sounds great. Let's crack it open.
Ooh, the synchronicity.
We're getting good at this. Too good.
Oh, look at that color.
Yeah, right? Like,
I'm making a mess, Nikki.
it's all good. Listen, this is what the bar top's for. That's why it's tiled.
That's right.
Can you imagine a carpeted bar top?
Can you imagine doing a podcast about beer from behind a bar? I feel on top of the world back here.
I feel on top of the world because this pour. I don't think I've ever poured a beer so well in my life.
Well,
look at
should have
this.
let you pour mine.
Look at this. Wow.
And
I
on
don't like to brag.
our custom koozies, by the way.
Yes.
Let me just show this off real quick.
Give those a little
Oh, yeah.
flicker to the camera. Well, cheers, Kyle. Welcome back again to the U.S. We're happy to
Cheers.
have you.
Thank you. It's good to be back.
I'm surprised they let you back in, honestly.
Me too.
All that trouble you caused. Oh, man. So I love this. What do you think about it?
It is roasty and toasty. I see what they mean by a twist on a classic Pils.
So good. It I don't know if it's just because the color's tricking me, but it almost gives me the same feeling of drinking like an iced coffee. Like a black iced coffee.
Yeah, I think what you said about like the mild cocoa and like the bread crust kind of flavor is what brings that out. The color is deceiving though. I'm expecting it to be much richer than it is. It is rich.
Yeah.
But I mean, you put this next to something like a Guinness.
Right.
It might look similar, but it doesn't taste quite the same. This is delicious.
Yeah, it's really, really good. It's, like almost, you're expecting it to taste like a stout because of the color.
Yeah.
But it doesn't. Yeah, you're right. So that's kind of a cool thing.
It's much lighter and more refreshing than you would think.
It's great. I highly recommend this place if you're ever up in New York, if you're near the Catskills. Great food, good staff, and you're like on a pond posted up there, and it's just a beautiful place to drink. So big recommendation from me.
Love that.
Cool. Well, that's the end of our beer tasting segment. And up next, we will have our musical guest, Kailie Simpson, who is just arriving now, pulling up straight from the airport. Excited to talk with her and learn more about her story. Okay, guys, we're back, and we have our guest, Kailie Simpson. Really excited to have you.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
I know it's been a crazy weekend for you, right? Can you give us the download on your weekend?
It's been crazy. There's been a lot of music stuff and some personal things. I flew down to Orlando for a show. I was there for 24 hours. I played down there, which it was a great show. I played with a few really cool bands, Magi, 7 Year Witch, and Cinema Stereo. They were really great. Lots of hair. They had lots and lots of hair. And then I flew back. I had a friend got engaged, and I have this. And then my brakes crapped out today. So I'm like,
man.
sorry for being a little tardy, but that's the musician in
No
me.
problem.
I don't think
okay.
any musicians are on time.
No, it's actually, we
that's
would be
part of the
worried
deal.
if you were on time.
Imagine I was early.
Yeah.
That would have been crazy.
Like, I
What
don't
kind of
know.
musician? Not real.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I showed up just on time, an hour late, and we're here.
There's more time for us to drink the beer.
There you go. There you go. Yeah, cheers to my. What is this again that I have?
This is All Day Brewing. It's a non-alcoholic beer.
Oh yes, because I am doing
taking a
sober
break.
June. I don't know why I picked June, but
Hey,
Taking
usually
a
do
break.
like
Power to
winter.
you.
I know.
Yeah.
It's been going good. Eight days.
8 days.
Okay.
I know, and it was like it's funny because I'm so used to having like a glass of wine before a show. It's just like it's very social drinking.
It is.
So being at a show that's like very heavily,
Everyone's.
around alcohol, I'm just like, I mean, I'm fine, but seeing other people, you're like, okay, maybe I'll never drink again. That's
It's funny because the culture around drinking, I mean, I feel like America and a lot of other, I was just in Europe, it's very similar.
oh yeah, you were
There's
just
a lot,
in
a
Europe.
lot of drinking. It's just the thing to do.
I feel like it's classier elsewhere, right? I don't know, something about it. Just you know what it is when you're like in Europe. You
Yes,
like,
yes, yes.
Yeah.
You can definitely, especially when you're in like touristy areas.
Yeah. All
it feels
day.
very,
Well, they say the wine is different there too.
yes, they do.
You know?
They do.
Yeah.
Especially in Italy
And I
and
think
France.
Have you ever been to Italy before?
Yeah.
So this is not your first time.
Not my first time in Europe, no.
Oh, nice.
I didn't visit Italy this time around, but
Oh,
I did
okay.
get to go to Paris
Nice.
and Germany and Netherlands.
Oh, so you did it all.
Sort of.
Well, you did a lot.
you went big.
Good
my
for you.
best.
I've never been to Europe, but I'm going to Italy in September. So
Oh, where are you going? We went to
Amalfi
Italy
Coast.
Oh,
together, like all our friends,
Uh-huh.
a year ago.
Where'd you go?
Rome, Naples, Sorrento, and then I went to Florence one day. They were
I hear
sleeping.
Florence is like the
That was my
place.
favorite.
That's
That was
what
my
everyone
favorite.
says when they go to Italy.
they were
Yeah.
sleeping.
Yeah,
You were sleeping, so you missed Florence.
We weren't feeling
Yeah,
it.
listen, these
It was
guys.
a tiring trip. What can I say?
I'm
Missed
like,
out.
You heard how many cities she said. We were bouncing around a lot.
it's our last day.
You did it.
It's our last day. I'm like, guys, I'm gonna go to Florence tomorrow. You wanna come with me? And they're like, what time are you going? I'm like, maybe get a train at like 9:30, whatever. The look on their faces for me to ask them to get up early to go to
Oh my
Florence.
God. Yeah. Because now look, now you're here in Jersey and you missed out on Florence.
Yeah, see that? Yeah, but tell us more about your trip. So you're going to Amalfi Coast?
I am, but not for long. I'm at that age now where everyone's getting married, so
Heard.
all of my vacations are weddings.
Yep.
But it's fine. Two birds, one stone type of thing.
That's
so
right. Yep.
it's gonna be a good time. I'm very, very excited.
A good time, an expensive time.
You know what's funny though? Weddings are expensive in general. I at least rather spend money and selfishly get a little bit something out of it for myself.
That's true.
Because sometimes you'll do like, it's not even destination, but you have to get the hotel and this and that. It costs you a couple $1,000 anyway. So I might as well be in Mexico or Italy.
Right.
So
100%.
to all my friends, if you want to get married, please make a destination. So
You heard it here, folks.
Yeah.
Destination
Heard it.
weddings
Let me
only.
spending my money, please.
Yeah, yeah.
Make it a lot of fun.
That's
And I actually think it's cheaper for the bride and the groom when it's destination. It's like a different type
Yeah.
of price point.
Yeah, especially because you tend to get fewer people.
Well, exactly.
right. They fall off. You're
Yeah.
spending less per head.
Yeah.
Yep.
That makes sense. Yeah.
But
Not like
that's not
yours.
my reality. I'm very music focused. So I just travel for my friends with their weddings. And then I'm traveling for music. Very different lifestyles going on.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Different.
No wedding. And
No, there's no wedding bells
Future.
anytime. I mean, listen, you never say never. Maybe I meet him tomorrow.
Sure.
Yeah, who
and,
knows?
100%.
Yeah.
shotgun, you never know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
it's not something that we're focused on, no.
Okay, that's fine. Well, I appreciate the grind you have for your music.
Yeah, it's big time.
You know, you are
Yeah.
Kailie Simpson, the artist, and we are here because we would like to get to know a little bit more about you as a person and an artist.
Yeah.
So,
Tell us where you're from. You said you're from Wayne, right?
Yeah, I grew up in Wayne. I'm in Montclair now.
Nice. Okay. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was like not even 10
Yeah.
minutes, which is perfect. 'Cause I'm like, I'm so late, so thank God. But yeah, I grew up in Wayne my whole life. Wayne is so big though too, so I always laugh because people are like, oh my God, do you know so-and-so? And I'm like, well, it's a huge town, and also I don't know. Do I want to know so and so?
Right.
Like, how do you like? It's like too big. Where I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. How do we feel about this so and so that you're talking about?
Yeah.
But yeah, grew up in Wayne. I don't know what else. Yeah.
Yeah. My dad actually grew up in Wayne too.
Where? Do you know
I
like?
like DePaul.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Kind of by DePaul.
Yeah.
I like it. And they live there now, my parents. I grew up in Kinnelon, and then my parents moved to Wayne like a few years ago, and so now my dad's back like
Oh,
out
nice.
of the town. Wayne's a nice town.
It is. It's
nice.
it's very large, but
Yeah.
it's nice. There's great areas. Oh my god, it's so great.
But-
well, your dad's in a good kind of spot because he's
Yeah.
like closer to. Cause sometimes if you're like in Wayne,
Then
don't know.
it takes forever.
it takes forever to get out of it and then get to a highway. I don't
What were
like
some of the spots that you frequented
in Wayne?
in Wayne?
Yeah.
School. No. Well, I lived in Packanack, so it was like a
Okay.
cute lake community. I don't know if I think your dad probably lives close to it if he's like right off of Alps.
Yeah.
But I don't even know. Frequent. I was too young. Nothing really exciting.
Preakness
Everyone's
Mall.
house. Yeah. Honestly, the Preakness Mall wasn't even that like cool. You know, like in middle school, we would walk to like the Wendy's and the Starbucks that was behind my middle school. So like
That's something.
that was pretty cool. You know, and then high school, once you got your car, you just kind of everyone's house. There's
Yeah.
Yeah.
typical
Suburban.
teenagers, suburban teenagers. Nothing was really house parties.
Yeah. And then how long have you been in Montclair?
I'm on my 4th year now. Yeah, I've been loving it.
It's a great place to live.
It is. It's so wonderful, and I love my apartment. I'm a maximalist, so there's no way I'm moving anytime. Every time I'm like, maybe I'll move. Like I'll make a move. Like I'll do something different. And I like look around my
This is
apartment.
going to
and
be
I'm
a
like,
lot.
yeah, no, I'm not going anywhere. Packing alone is
Yeah.
just a nightmare.
Yeah,
so I'm like,
tell me about
no.
That's a pain.
But I've always wanted to be in Manhattan. But I got spoiled with when I moved out for the first time.
Yeah.
I was by myself. Like I never had a roommate ever in my life. So there's no way I'm gonna go backwards now. Almost, I feel like I'm just like too set in my way. And when I look at places in Manhattan where I want to live, I'm like, okay, I can afford that. But then I would also I would be living in a shoebox.
Yeah.
And I would just be like sacrificing a lot. But one day maybe.
Well, how long have you been making music, and do you think what you would be doing would be affected by living in New York? Your musical career?
I think if I lived in New York, I just would be out more, and I'd probably just like meet tons of more people like on a daily basis. I'm in the city as much as I possibly can. Like even on my days off, I just like take the train in and I'll just gallivant the city by myself, and it's just so inspiring.
Yeah.
And I love all the people there. I love people watching. The energy, it's just so much fun. So I do think that it would, there's only positives. The only downside is just financial downside, but that's just, and it's kind of like surviving. You have to survive there.
You do.
And I'm like, getting too old for surviving. Don't want to survive anymore. I just want to, I always remind myself, like, I think Sex and the City, the first season, they were all like 32, 33.
Yeah.
So I have a few more years before that. So I'm like, okay, like maybe by like 33, I'll financially be in a different situation where then I can gallivant and do my music in the city and live in the city. But for now, I go in and I just stay really late and then I go home.
Yeah.
To my cheaper rent. Cheaper rent.
I get it too. And like I think sometimes it's important too to think about what would change in terms of like your stress level and like you said, like your finances and the
That's why it's
chaos
not
of
worth
that.
it.
Like that might impact your ability to create.
Oh, absolutely. My songs would be even more depressing. I'd be crying all the time. There'd be no way. But
Yeah, you would change genres. Yeah.
exactly.
Speaking of which,
yeah.
can you explain to us like
So my
how you
gender is female.
identify- Yeah.
No, that was so funny. Was there a typo or I just read it wrong?
What
Vicky,
exactly
let's look it
We
up.
have to
Let's
tell.
pull it up.
Can I?
We gotta tell the listeners.
Yeah, I
so,
don't know what happened
So
here.
when we have a new guest on our podcast, I send them a little questionnaire and I ask them The way I phrase it definitely can be misread, so I'm going to change. But I asked them for their self-identified genre.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
Self-identify. So I was just
Their
like, when
genre.
I saw that, I was like, oh,
Yeah.
like gender. Because that is questions now, even when you fill out any forms.
Yeah.
It's just like, what's your gender?
Exactly. So, like, I asked that because I don't want to give the wrong
You don't want to assume.
genre. Like, maybe I listen to you and I'm like, oh, this sounds like this. And
Yeah.
then I announce you as like, oh, hey, this is this artist or this genre. And
I'm like,
you're
what?
like, what? That's something. So Kailie and I were laughing because she wrote back to me that her genre was female. And I was like, damn, that's like some serious feminism.
Men, you are not allowed to listen to my music. I am so sorry. This is not for you. So if you're watching, stop. This is for girls. Kyle, you need to go, actually. I don't know why
get outta
you're
here.
attitude. No, okay, so that's what it was. So it says self-identifying genre.
Yeah.
Okay, so I was probably like, I'm like, oh, self-identified female.
Yeah, like
That's how I identify.
it was super funny. But so you said you ended up correcting and saying rock.
Yeah.
But when you came in earlier, you and I were chatting and we were talking about how expansive rock as a genre is. And I liked the way that you described the rock genre in terms of being like this like two-part thing. If you can share that with us.
Yeah, I feel like rock is obviously such a large umbrella, and we were even talking like you were like, I was in a band, it was indie rock, and it's like I wouldn't maybe necessarily describe myself as indie rock, but we can all describe ourselves as rock. And I was having a conversation with a musician last weekend, and we were talking about like rock and roll. Like there's rock where you're like, yeah, let's go rock, and then there's like the roll part of rock where it's like, you know, you got like that good drum beat, but you like kind of very like Stevie Nicks rock, or we were talking about Jet. That was
Yeah,
like the specific
Jet.
band that we were talking about, because that's one of my favorite bands, and I had seen them last week, and when I was chatting with them, I was like, hey, like I just want to let you guys know, like you guys are one of my favorite bands ever. Like when I say I love rock, I'm talking about like that genre of rock. And he was like, yeah, I really feel like we identify as the roll. And I was like, oh my gosh, you're so right. Like there's rock and roll, so like where do you know, and his is more like the hip swinging rock. And I think that's, when I say I like rock, that's definitely what I'm talking about. Because then also people be like, well, I love the Beatles. And then someone else will be like, well, I love Metallica. And it's like, okay, well, these are like obviously two different spectrums.
Yeah.
And then we were even saying like a John Mayer is considered rock. You know, or like even Father John Misty, rock. Like these are like all different types of sub-genres to it, but it's all one big umbrella. So I identify as female rock, and there's a lot of roll to it.
Okay.
You know, so
Yeah.
that's probably where I would identify myself.
That's such a good explanation. Thanks for
rock and
clarifying. The rock and the roll.
It's all how you dance to the songs.
That's so true. Yeah, that is like how you classify it is the dance.
Yeah, right?
It's how you're moving to it. Yeah.
Are you guys familiar with Wolfgang Van Halen? He has a band,
Yeah.
is it Mammoth, I think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
So like I really, really enjoy him, and I honestly think he has a little bit of like it's not obviously pop rock, but some of his like songwriting, like the way he structures a song, I feel like is very pop. Like it's just that perfect structure of like verse, chorus,
Right.
verse, chorus, bridge, chorus, and I like that structure. It's very predictable in a way for the audience to really get like be captivated by it. But again, like when I listen to him live, I'm not like shaking my hips, but I'm definitely like banging my head.
Yeah.
And then when you go to Jet, you shake your hips. So those are he's my rock and they're my roll.
Very cool. Love that. I love that. It's awesome.
So you've been doing a lot of name dropping. You've played.
No, I'm not name dropping.
You've played with some. Any artists that you performed with or have spoken to or have worked with, or anything that just stands out to you as maybe inspiring or a good memory, or
Well, I've definitely met some very cool musicians and lots of bands throughout the last few years that I've been doing this. And I've been very blessed with working very closely with my manager, who works in the industry. So he's been able to introduce me to a lot of like vets in the music industry. I don't know if you're familiar with the band Hailstorm.
Yeah.
yeah.
I really love them a lot.
Oh my God. Okay. Well, then this will be
Yeah.
fun stories for you. So when I was 17 years old, my manager, Larry, he's very good friends with Hailstorm. And it was at the Wellmont Theater. And again, I'm 17, like from Wayne, New Jersey, just dabbling. I didn't even know that I liked rock music yet. Like I thought I was going to be like Adele. Like in my head, I was like, I want to be singing songs like Adele. I want to wear gowns on a piano and be singing piano bass songs. Like that was my dream at 17. And he was like, okay, that's totally fine, but I really want you to meet this band because they're so humble, they're so wonderful, they have such charisma. It's not the genre that you necessarily like, but I just want you to meet them. I'm like, no problem. We go to the Wellmont. I'm wearing like ballet flats, skinny jeans, and like the infinity scarves back in like when that was cool. So totally not fitting into the crowd here. And we're there, and I go see Hailstorm, and then we go backstage, and it was actually when they first got nominated for a Grammy. So I remember being there, and I'm like 17 years old. I'm like so like nervous and weird, and they have this Grammy cake. Nicest people. Fast forward like a year later, they play. What's that place in AC called? Not Blue something. Whatever. There's this club or something in AC. Again, I'm not of age, but we go. This is the first time I actually got to really, really talk to them. And I remember it was my first experience with them where like there was lots of fans like up against like a window. It's very fishbowl-y. People are freaking out. And I remember RJ was like, do you want a drink? I'm like, oh, like I'm 19. Like I don't know. And he's like, well, ask your mom. And my mom was with me. So I was like, Mom, can I have a drink? She goes, yeah, you can have one drink. So I was like, okay. So you got me I don't even know. I don't even know. Maybe it was a beer. I just held it. Like, I didn't like it. So I was like, but they were so nice. And Lizzie is, not only is she like a vocal powerhouse, but she is, you wouldn't know that she does what she does because she's just so humble and normal and kind. That is so cool to hear. And the fact that like she talked to me, some like nobody 19-year-old girl that like has no idea what she was doing at the time. She sat with me for an hour on a couch and she spoke to me. She gave me such insight. She was like, always just like believe in your shit. Like always say yes to adventure. Don't say no to things. Like constantly put yourself out there, face those fears. She's like, as a woman, you are going to, you know, she even said, like, there's going to be times where you're going to be overly sexualized or you're going to be told no for certain things or you're going to be pressured to do certain things. She's like, always, like, stay true to yourself. She was like, and she's been doing it forever. I mean, there's videos of them, like, on, like, driveways and, like, parking lots with RJ and, like, his makeshift drum kit that's, like, flipping upside down and Lizzie's, like, 15 years old singing. But the nicest people and, you know, the relationship continued on. Obviously, I see them like once every 2 years, maybe whenever they're in town. But the nicest people, they remember me every time. I will say I felt very cool when they started following me on Instagram. That's when I'm like, nice. That's the best. When I started like getting more. I'm somebody. No. It's like so silly. But when you're so young and you're like trying. Not even trying, you're just like dabbling into the music and you're like, okay, you know, you look up to all these people that are doing it and you're like, this is the lifestyle I want to live. And so the fact that every time I've met her, not only Lizzie, but RJ too, like they'll take the time to actually speak to you. And, you know, now when I see them, it's just like, oh my God, like, and then like we actually get to like, catch up. And then I also got the privilege last week for the first time to meet my favorite band, which was Jet and Nick, the lead singer, also amazing. And we spoke for a while. I got
awesome.
Nice. There you go.
That's the name drop, right? No, but you know, I think for so long too, you think it's so out of reach, and then the trick is just like just keep going. I think for so long I had imposter syndrome too, like where you're like, it feels like so like you're here and I'm here, and you're always like looking up to someone else or comparing yourself. Yeah. And it's just now again, I've got a long ways to go, but it's nice that I'm in rooms now where I feel like I can contribute to a conversation, if that makes sense. Yeah. It's like when you're 17, I'm like in ballet flats, and I'm like, oh, I listen to Hannah Montana. I don't really know anything about Lizzie Hale, but now I'm like, yeah, give it to me. So you're a Hailstorm fan?
Yeah, actually, it's so nice for you to share, and like in listening to you tell us that, like something I think that's so important is, you know, there can be times where women gatekeep in industries. And the reality of that is that if you don't give people a seat at the table that are younger than you to learn and to sit in on the conversation, even when they can't contribute, then things end. Yeah. Right? Yeah. Like there won't be a next person, a next like female person in the industry. So, and that's across, I think, different industries and different spaces. It's not like specific to music. Even in the corporate world, you know, I experienced that. So it's really special that she didn't gatekeep. She gave you her secret recipe.
She gave me so much of her, like,
Great insight.
truly the nicest woman I've ever met.
It's really, really special, and I think rare too.
Very rare. And like, think about
Yeah.
it. She just did a whole freaking concert in 10-inch freaking
Yeah.
boots, and her vocals are insane.
So
like,
powerful.
and then the fact that like she gets off the stage, like regroups herself, and then speaks for hours to just a bunch of people that are like hanging out with her backstage, like the nicest people. So if anyone's interested in supporting bands, those you want to find like the real, true artists that do it because they love it, you know?
Yeah, that's how you know someone really loves something, is when they're not like acting in a scarcity mindset. And they want to share it with you because they love it and they're passionate about it and they want to see you experience that too, and they'll get joy out of that. That's how you really know someone loves something, I think. So.
Well, they're also like, obviously, you know, it's a different level of success at this point, and they've paved their way, and they're vets at this point. Like, they've been doing this for decades. But even like on like the smaller scale, like where the level that I'm at this moment, like I also notice. And I used to have this toxic mindset, especially like maybe when I first started out. So I've been doing this, I want to say, legit. Like, I've always sang, I've always been into music, but I did not legitimately start until like 8 years ago, where I was like, okay, like this is actually the path that I'm taking, and every decision from here on out is going to be towards that goal. And I won't lie, in the very beginning, I definitely had that scarcity mindset of like, well, if you make it, then I won't make it, because there's only one spot. And it's like, no. That's just like not how it works. And the older I've gotten, I've also realized like if you're surrounded by people that are making, like, because sometimes I'll have a friend that I started out with, but then like maybe they kind of surpassed me in some milestones in music, and I'll catch myself and be like, well, if we started at the same time, we're doing very similar things. Like, why is it that this happened? And then I go, no, Kailie, you're in a great position. The fact that you have friends and your life is surrounded by people that are continuously growing and are successful, like that's how it works for you too. Because think about like even comedians or actors or all of the people that are in their 50s, 60s now, all of that, like those groups that they circle around, you know, when you see like, oh my God, remember when we were still working at like the Laugh Factory and we were 17?
And the whole group.
It's same thing with musicians. Like, you'll see musicians years later be like, oh my God, we used to, remember when we did that 15 years ago? And it's like, everyone's on their own journey. But again, when I was a lot younger, there was that scarcity mindset, because I think you think that that's how it works, and it's like, no. First of all, it's not a one-man show. It takes so many people to make dreams happen, and the more people you're collaborating with, and the more people that you surround yourself with that have the same mindset, that are also succeeding, that's the way to go.
100%.
Yeah, agreed.
Absolutely the way to go.
That's a great mindset to have. It's a great
When you talk about that conversation, would you call that a turning point in your career? When did you learn piano? And then how long was it before you had that turning point where you were like, every decision I make from here on out is going to be in pursuit of this goal? And talk a little bit about like what that was like to make that decision.
So when I was in high school, I was always singing, but I was just like, I just sang. I didn't play any instruments. I didn't write any music. And then I remember meeting, well, I'm not even gonna get into that story right now, but meeting my manager, who was my manager now, but he heard my voice and he was kind of like, hey, like, I think there's a lot of potential here. If you're ever interested in following this as a genuine career, my advice to you would be to learn an instrument. And I was like, okay. And then like that was it. And I was like 17 at the time. So my mom put me into like some piano lessons. I hated it, absolutely hated it. And not because I didn't want to learn, but like learning piano like correctly is just it. I was just like, teach me the 3 chords to Taylor Swift and like let me sing All Too Well, you know? And that's what I ended up doing. I went on YouTube and I would take pieces of tape on my piano, my keyboard, and I would just like, you know, like write out all the keys. And I learned from YouTube how to just do chords, you know? And that's how I started. I would just do covers a lot. And then I got to college. I did attempt guitar multiple times, but you have to actually genuinely practice all the time. Yeah. And that just, I didn't have that type of discipline. And also with the piano, like, when you press a key, it sounds good, no matter what.
No matter what.
A guitar, it's like, unless you have the correct pressure and your fingers are perfectly there, it's not encouraging. So I was like, fuck this, I'm not doing it. So I have lots of guitars at my apartment, and they're decor.
Yep.
I've learned eventually how to strum, so I've written some songs on guitar, but like I can't play like a legit F. You know what it is? Like I can't I don't have I can't do that. So I'm like the cheat F. I'm like, give me that cake.
Biggest hurdle.
I'm like, and I need to grow the F up and just do it. But I'm like, I was always a piano girl. Yeah, grow the F up. Like I really need to know how to fucking play an F chord. But that's why I have guitar players. It's fine. I've always been more the performer, but I obviously knew if I wanted to be a musician and not just a singer, I'm going to have to learn how to write or play so I can write. Even if my goal was never to be some extraordinaire on any instrument, because my voice is the main instrument for me, and I love performing and I love that microphone in my hand and I like moving around and jumping around and engaging with the audience. But I knew if I didn't learn an instrument, I would have no creative freedom. And I did know even at 17 that I didn't want to be an artist that was singing someone else's songs. I have a lot to say. So I needed to write for myself. So I, learned on YouTube, and then I went to college. I went to Willie P, and I did communications. Oh, did you go to Willie P?
Oh yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
What years were you there?
2012 to
16.
Oh,
yeah.
same. Well, I was 13 to 15 because then I quit. I didn't stay.
I stayed an extra semester.
What was your major?
Communications.
Oh my God. We maybe had a class together. Could you
That's
maybe?
insane to me.
We could have. It's not far-fetched. It's totally possible.
No, of course. It's just, I feel like.
Or maybe we like cross paths a bunch.
100%.
Definitely.
No, it's just, I feel like I've had this happen a lot, especially with Big and Tall. And
Oh, well, because
they're all from Willie P.
Did you know
But
that?
I recognize people.
You do.
And
you don't recognize me? I don't have a memorable.
Well, I
face.
remember the first time I saw you perform. If we can do this, I'll tell a story.
Yeah, tell us.
The first
Yeah,
time
tell
I
us.
saw
Good
you
job.
perform, and you sat in front of a piano, and I think it was like a more low key acoustic
like an intimate-
jazz type evening, whatever it was, and my jaw was on the floor. Your voice was phenomenal, and I was like. She seems familiar, but I definitely have never met this girl.
You've never seen a short girl with long brown hair before? That's probably, you've seen them all the time. Come on.
Yeah. No, but it's funny. I that I never knew you were from Willie P until this moment.
To be honest, I was the girl. I've lived in Wayne, so I just,
commuting.
I was commuting,
Yeah.
and I didn't want to be there.
Yeah.
Like I remember graduating high school. I really wasn't a studious.
Yeah, tell us about like that and how you decided to do music and.
Yeah, I was not studious. I don't think it's because I was like rebellious. I think it was more laziness. Like as an adult now, I'm like, oh man, I really kind of screwed myself on that one. Like I should have read the books in English class, Like I read them now because I'm like, that was, The Glass Castle is one of my favorite books. But that was assigned to me, I think, freshman year. And I think I Spark noted it. But anyway, I was never studious. So when I ended up, all my friends went off to college, and I'm like, well, my parents were like, you're going to college. So I was like, okay, I'll go to Willie P then. And you would think,
down the block.
oh, you should do the music program, but clearly right over my head. I'm like, I'll do communications. But again, I was the singing friend. Like my friends at parties, Kailie, sing us a song. And remember when like Facebook was really big and you would like write on each other's walls all the time?
Yeah.
We would do remember like the video cams? I would friends would be like, I request this song, and I'll be by like I'll be your car.
Yeah.
I would sing songs like that on webcams and put them on people's Facebooks. like that's what I was doing.
It's so
That's
millennial
great.
coded.
No, it's
great.
so millennial. So millennial.
I love it.
It's
I love
cringy.
it.
And then at the end you're like,
I love this.
thanks, let me know. So I would do that, and I was just like the singing friend. I never took it that seriously. I didn't think it was like a real thing that I could personally do. And then when I got to college, I was in communications. I think I was in my second year, and one of the projects, it was a PR project where you had to pick a celebrity, and then the project was you were their PR management team, and you had to do this whole PR thing on them. And I remember sitting there like, okay, what celebrity am I going to pick? And right before that project, my manager knew someone that needed demos because he was like a songwriter, and he pitches songs to Disney. like Disney movies, like Disney Channel, whatever. And so he gets paid to like write a bunch of songs, but he needs someone to sing the demos sometimes. So my manager Larry was like, oh, I like know somebody, like, Kailie, would you want to go in one day and like do some demos? And like nothing, it was just for free, like just for me to try, like nothing's coming of it. It's to sell the song to someone else. I have no idea where the songs go. They're not my songs. I was like, sure. So I go into the studio and I started singing and I freaking loved it. I was like, I want to do this forever, the rest of my life. I never want to do anything else. And then like fast forward a few days later, I get this project and I'm like, you know what? This is when like the ego was really coming through. And I was like, why should I pick another celebrity? Someone should be doing PR about me. And I remember sitting there and I was like, okay. And then I thought about it. I was like, could I do this? I'm like, you know what? Yeah. So my mom is always the woman that was like, you are a star. Like you could do it. Like she's always been like, do it. You are a superstar.
That's great.
Yeah, no, almost like too much where I feel like the opposite would happen where she would be like, no, you are the best. And I'm like, all right, mom, like I can't even freaking play a piano or the guitar. I don't know how good I could possibly be. But like she was always like that. And then my dad's more like logical, which totally fair. And I remember I met him at Panera on Route 23 next to the Party City.
I don't think is there
anymore. Yeah, you know.
Yep.
Oh my God.
Yep. In Wayne.
Oh yeah.
And he was like, what's going on? I was like, so I talked to mom. My parents are divorced, by the way. So that's why this is like a little funnier too. Because it's like, well, mom says it's okay. So I'm just letting you know I'm dropping out of college. And he's like, to do? Music. And he was like, oh, you know what's funny? I actually told this story on a podcast recently and he watched it and he was like, that's not how it happened. I'm like, well, that's how I remember it, and that's the story that I'm going with. And I said to him,
Doubling down.
I'm like, this is the story, Dad. So if you're watching,
This is Kailie's version.
yeah, this is Kailie's version, exactly. And he said, like, okay, you have 1 year to prove to me, like, you're going to take this seriously. Which, in the moment, I was like, but like, it makes sense. Like now that I'm 30, I'm like, yeah, that was a responsible adult. That's like, yeah, no. We're not just like quitting things so you can like hang around at the house because you want to be a singer. Like, what the hell does that even mean? You know? So he was like, you have 1 year. And within that year, nothing crazy happened, but I really was so dedicated. Like, wrote music. I was in it. I was going to open mics. This is where the story changes, because in my head, I'm pretty sure that after the year passed, he just like never asked if I was going back. So I assumed that was like the stamp of approval. His version is he was like, oh, I kept telling you to go back to college just to finish the degree. So I never went back. So clearly I didn't listen to him. Sometimes I think, oh, I should have gotten the degree, but it is what it is, and it's really totally fine. No, I know so many people that have like jobs and don't have degrees, and I'm also like, I do music, right? I'm fine.
Right.
Like, it is what it is. But yeah, so I never went back, and ever since then, I was writing, and then I was gifted a baby grand piano.
Oh my gosh.
I know.
Wow.
And we moved it to my childhood home basement, and my mom allowed me to create my own sanctuary downstairs. I painted it. There was records all over. It was like my basement. And I always laugh because I do have to shout out my siblings because they had to deal with a lot. It would be like 2 a.m. and I'm like writing like these like things, these ballads, and I'm like, 'cause she's a poor man. And my brother's bedroom was right over my piano. And my brother would come out and be like, Mom, can you tell her to? She goes, no. She's writing music. This is what she needs to do. And I always laugh because like it didn't matter what time of day. Like I lived in that basement for easily 3 years. Never moved. Wow. Like loved it. But it was just that's just how it kind of all came about, you know? It was just
so you just kind of like
winging it.
Leaned in.
Yep.
So you were recording, you felt like this is what I want to do. And you're like, this is it.
Yeah, peace out. I'm gonna do it. And I was going through my very first breakup.
Oh, that's brutal.
Oh, that'll inspire some songwriting material.
All of my songs, honestly. I'm like, this kid, he was like my first boyfriend ever. I was, when we started dating, we were like 16 up until like 20. So it was like, that's a pretty hefty relationship for like your first relationship. And like, we were very close, like the families, everything. And I just, he went off to college. We stayed together for a little when he was in college, and then it just obviously naturally didn't work out. Like, no, that's just how it goes. Yeah. Devastated. Like, gutted, devastated, like almost so dramatic. I think my parents were like, this is like mentally ill, I think. Like, I'd be like crying all the time. Like, I couldn't breathe. And my parents were like, Kailie, this is life. Like, I'm like, this is I can't do this. Every song. I got so much material out of this guy. I always joke, I'm like, the day that I make tons of money, that guy's getting a check. I swear, he is the reason for my career. Like all of the beginning songs, like, half of my set list is about him. Obviously, with time, I mean, it's been over 10 years now. Yeah. Like I've had other relationships where the songs that used to be about my first boyfriend have morphed into other meanings, which I love about music. I love that, like, I might have written a song about a very specific situation, and then like 10 years later, I find myself relating to a song I wrote when I was 18 years old, but it means something totally different. Yeah. And that's just something that I also love about the songwriting. Sometimes I'm also like, Kailie, this is really not good that we still relate to this. Like, you need to evolve a little bit. Like, there's this one song I wrote, it's called Something's Wrong. And I was very close with his family. This is funny. And we were broken up, okay? We were broken up. He was probably dating other girls. I don't even know he was in college. And I was still living at home. So I would still hang out with his family when he was away. Like, I would be at his house with his mom and his sisters.
That's so classic.
No, it's absolutely crazy. And I remember, I guess it was like a break or something, and he was on his way home, and the mom like has his location. So she's like, oh, he's close, you gotta go. Like, you gotta go. So I'm like leaving the house, and I'm like getting in the car because I don't want to, he knew about it, but I'm not like, I don't need to see him in his house.
Yeah, it was
We're not
like,
together.
you know,
like,
don't ask.
Crazy. Yeah, like, don't ask, don't tell type of
Don't
situation.
tell him with your family.
So, yeah, like he knew, and I like really do appreciate that he let me have these moments with them. But I'm driving home, and I'm like, what is wrong with you, Kailie? Like, something is so wrong with something's wrong with you. Something is wrong with you that you're still doing this. And I ran home, got on the piano, I was like, maybe something's wrong with me, and I just wrote this whole song within 5 minutes.
Just all came out.
It all just came out. It's literally, if you listen to that song, it's like as if I was talking, like, maybe something's wrong with me. It's been 4 years and it's still you I see at night when I'm tucked away and at 2 in the middle of the day. You've done your rounds on lover number 3. Maybe something's wrong with me. Like, I literally just like writing my actual situation. But sometimes like there's parts where like it will talk about my personality a little bit, like some of the flaws I have. Because I'm not flawless, obviously. And 10 years later, I'm like, oh, this is a pattern, isn't it? We need to maybe self-reflect a little bit. But music is definitely a time capsule that continuously changes. And I think it's really beautiful because also, too, like, I'll write a song and, like, a friend or someone random online will be like, oh, my God, like, this means this to me. And I'm like, that's not what that's about at all. But I am so glad. That's perfect. So
100%.
Yeah.
Music is a beautiful thing, beautiful outlet.
I love that you said that about music.
So special. Yeah.
I feel that too often. Maybe a song from forever ago takes on a different meaning.
Right.
And just the beautiful ability to interpret it in your own way, even as the songwriter or just the listener. And, you know, I might hear a song from when I was younger and I loved it and it made me think of this, but then all of a sudden 10 years later I listen to that same song by that same artist and I'm like, what was I thinking?
Yeah, no, it's or what I also love is there's certain musicians and artists and bands out there that whether you like them or not, there's no denying their classic ability to create art that's timeless, you know what I'm saying? And sometimes I feel like you might be introduced to an album or an artist and it doesn't connect for you. And you're like, yeah, this isn't for me. But then like 5 years later, you revisit it and you're like, because sometimes it's life experience. So you might not even understand something and it might not click with you because you've never experienced it yet. So you don't know. Like, I remember hearing Janis Joplin when I was younger and I'm like, yeah, no, not for me. And then I remember I was about 20-ish, like young 20s, and I was vacuuming my room. And for some reason, I'm like, let me put this Janis Joplin, like obviously I knew who she was, but like I didn't listen to her. Like, let me put it on, and Little Girl Blues came on, and I just stopped, like dead in my tracks, and I just started crying. And for some reason, just hit. Yeah. And then ever since that day, I was like I'm obsessed. Like, I love Janis Joplin, and it took me a second. And it's with anything. I just think like, sometimes, like, I'm sure you, like you're saying, like, you listen to a song when you're younger, you might think it means this, and then 10 years, 20 years later, you can listen to it and be like, wait, this is so much deeper than I realized, because when you're 15, you don't have the capacity yet. You don't have that experience to even know what they're really talking about. Exactly. And I think that's so beautiful, and I think, like, I just love that there's certain songs in life that hold nostalgia, but then they also create something new for you where you're like, oh, this like explains
right?
so much more than what I thought it explained.
You're so right. That's actually like such an interesting point, and I think that was me with Bruce Springsteen, actually.
Yeah.
Like, the first time I heard Bruce when I was really young, maybe in high school or something like that, I was like, who is this guy? Like, you know, he's singing about stuff, and I don't really, like, get
What
it.
is this stuff?
What is this stuff?
Lame.
I was like, this is so lame. Like, I can't believe people listen to this. But
I can't believe people listen to Bruce Springsteen.
yeah, right? Can you
Frickin'
imagine
crazy.
me saying that? Like, honestly, I'm going to get killed. But just wait. Listen to the
Jersey,
rest
of
of
all
this,
places.
okay? But it's because when he's singing about, like, nostalgia and his childhood and, like, wishing for the good old days and growing up. And, like, when you're in that, you're growing up and you're in the nostalgia and you're in the good old days. You're like, I don't know what that means. Now, as an adult, as someone who's 31, I'm like, oh, it's so sweet when he's singing about, you know, like riding bikes around the shore with his friends when he was a kid, or like coming home to his parents and like spending Sunday with. Now I get it, like that desire for the good old days of your life,
The innocence of
the
life.
innocence of life. And now I understand like why you would love to listen to music like that. So there's artists like that you got to be older.
Timeless
So, like-
artists that make like even as simple as like it's not simple, but like the Beatles.
Yeah,
Like you're like sometimes you're like I don't get it or I don't understand this or
right.
it's all I just truly think that the best of the best come to you when you're ready for it.
Totally.
And like you'll arrive when it's time. And it's not an age thing because obviously like something traumatic can happen to you when you're young and you can relate to something that's a little more heavy or
True.
you know. I mean even like I have friends, you know, lose a parent that I obviously fortunately don't know what that pain feels like. Yeah, obviously I can put myself in the shoes and imagine it and don't want to. But there's certain experiences that I won't know until I experience it myself. And I think that's how music is. Like sometimes you just don't, it doesn't click until it's your time to unravel
So true.
and see it. So
True. Yeah, that's a really interesting point to make. Yeah.
We've talked a lot about the progression of your career and the changes and the things and the people that have influenced you and the things that have been told to you. What would you tell someone who's just realizing they need to learn an instrument?
don't get discouraged by the guitar. Like it's so much easier to do open mics with the guitar. So definitely learn guitar. No. If someone was starting out and they were like, okay, I'm going to take this seriously, I would say, you know, do not compare yourself to anybody else. You can be inspired by people, but just remember, even if you're not a musician, like don't compare yourself to anybody else because everyone's on their own journey. And the older you get, the more you realize like everyone's looking at somebody else thinking like, oh, and there's someone that's looking at you going, oh.
Yeah.
And that's something I've started to realize too. There's people that would message me like, oh my God, Kailie, like you've inspired me to do A, B, C, and D. And I'm like, me? And I forget that there's people watching me. Like, cause you know, you get so in your own head. So my advice would be follow your heart. I know it sounds cliche and silly, but it's like, do it. Don't take no for answers. Keep going. Discipline. Listen, talent only gets you so far. That's something that I've learned too. I think when I was younger, you know, also when you're young, talent does get you far because it's just impressive that you're talented and you're like, oh my God, you're so young and you're so talented. Like that's so great. And it's like, yeah, that's nice. But like once you graduate high school, especially college, it's like, there's no more milestones anymore. Now everyone's in the rat race.
Playing field is leveled.
High school is like, you're going to hit this. Then you're going to go to college and everyone's going to do this. And then after college, it's whatever you choose to do. Now, every decision you make, so if you hold yourself back, that's on you. Talent isn't going to open doors. You're not sitting in your house or your apartment thinking talent's going to get me the opportunities. Nope. What gets you the opportunities is being kind, open, collaborative, supportive. It's so important. It's so important. And listen, also too, like, don't just do it because you should be doing it. Like, genuinely find people you like. Like, don't pretend to be supportive. And it's okay. Like, if you don't like a certain band or you don't like a certain music, that's totally cool. Just move on from them. Listen, you're not going to like everybody. There's certain people I've met that I'm like, haha, okay, great. Never seeing you again.
Yeah.
But
I'm so glad you're saying this and being real about this because
so real.
It's true. Yeah. Networking doesn't have to be like, it doesn't have to be lame and fake.
Nope.
It's so important to be authentic.
And there's so many awesome people out there.
And you will find them if you look for them.
You will always find them because my big thing, and this is not even just with music, it's just life in general when it comes to relationship, friendships, like because sometimes we're like, that just like doesn't exist. And it's like, no, like I exist, so therefore it exists. Because if I exist and I'm a person that loves this, and this, what do you think, you're so unique? That's one thing I've learned with age, like no experience is unique. Like honestly, TikTok has taught me that. Like I'll like write a song about something. I'm like, that's exactly what happened to me. I'm like, oh, so nothing is personal or uniquely my own, I guess. So I just think that's my biggest advice. Follow your heart, be true to yourself, work hard. The better self-discipline you have when you're younger, the better it will be later, because discipline is a muscle that you have to exercise. And I will not lie, that's probably where I lacked for a while. Discipline. Because also too, like when you follow a passion or like, it's like I didn't go into the typical 9 to 5 where, and again, that's also a whole different path. That's also very difficult and hard. In my head, I'm like, oh, well, I'm going to be a singer, so it's going to be so fun. And it's like, well, if you're choosing it to be a job and a career, like there's going to be moments that absolutely are not fun. And there's going to be things that you have to do that you do not like because working isn't fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and no structure, right?
When
you choose to be a musician too, you don't have the 9 to 5 structure, so you're on your own.
Yourself. It's so hard. And then like I think for a long time I thought like I'll be singing, and it's like but like in order to get on that stage, you have to do so much behind the stage, which goes to the point of networking, being supportive of other people, showing up to shows that you're not on the bill for. Staying out late enough where you are brave enough to go up to somebody and compliment, and not great set. No. Be very intentional with what you're saying. Like, make sure you're creating an atmosphere of people that you admire, that you genuinely want to be collaborative with. And I just think, it's so much more than the instrument and the songwriting. Because you know how many people out there right now that are so successful that maybe aren't nearly as talented as someone that's sitting in their house right now? But the difference is they went out and they didn't take no for an answer. They were disciplined, and every single day they did something to better themselves and weren't making excuses.
Yeah, 1000%. That's a sick
Talent
answer.
really isn't going to save you.
Wow.
Great answer. Powerful stuff there. Very powerful stuff.
I need to take my own advice sometimes. My mom used to be like, what do you think? Someone's going to knock on your door and roll out the red carpet? Yes, exactly what I think. What do you mean?
I love that. Oh my God.
So we've talked about sort of what your journey has been like, and it's a beautiful story, and you give such great advice. And you said something really heartwarming in a post from 2022. If you don't mind, I'm going to quote you here.
Tell me what I said, please.
Thank you to everyone who has stuck around, jumped on board, played alongside of me, stood in the crowd, followed me, supported me, and streamed my music. This past year has been the best one yet, full of firsts, and we are only just beginning. Tell me about what this ride has been like for you, and if there are times that you feel discouraged, and how you get through it.
Oh, loaded question. Okay. Well, I do remember that post. I think I just finished playing the Cutting Room, and it was one of the biggest crowds I ever played for. I opened up for a band based in LA. They were called The Never Ending Fall, and I was their supporter, like the supporting act. I was doing showcases at the time in New York with this company called Breaking Sound, and they pretty much just like curate these showcases, and you have to bring like 20 people each band, and you play for different groups, like fans, whatever. And I guess one of the guys that was running it saw my performance, and he was like, oh, she would be a great opening act for this LA-based band. And it was just such an amazing opportunity. There was hundreds of people in the crowd, and I just remember the adrenaline that was like pumping through my veins was insane. And I do remember posting that. I was just like, I was so grateful, and I was reflecting so much because for so long, like I mentioned, I was like a solo artist. I was learning piano. I was doing a lot of open mics all by myself. And I remember at one point, it was probably right before COVID happened, where I was like, oh, I need a band. So going back to, good with networking and knowing people, I started like reaching out to people, and I call it like my yellow brick road. I found like my guitar player first. He's no longer my guitar player. He moved back to Israel, but his name was Shahar. His name is Shahar. Fabulous. He was an amazing guy. He really kind of paved the way for me and taught me a lot about music and writing, and he really elevated so much of my music. And then I went to I found my bass player who gave me my drummer, and I actually always had my keyboard player. I had known her a little bit earlier than my guitar player. But anyway, long story short, like my yellow brick road. And then, COVID happened, whatever, kind of slowed me down a little bit. But in 2022, I remember is when I finally had a full band with my fully produced EP. I was finally able to perform my EP because I released my EP when I was 25 years old, which was when COVID hit. And it was really unfortunate because I recorded it all during COVID. Well, right before I recorded it January, and then COVID hit in March. And so then we kind of paused on mixing and mastering because we were like, well, what's happening? It was just, even though we didn't really need to, but in that moment, obviously we all know no one knew what the hell was happening. Right. So we just waited a little bit. And then the following January, I was turning 26 and we released my EP on my birthday, and I couldn't perform. There was no performances. New York was closed. And then New York opened for a hot second and then it closed again. It was just a weird freaking time. So 2022 was when we were finally getting into a clear. And I played a show every month, if not twice a month, at Barry Electric, Pianos, Arlene's Grocery. So for me, those were really, really big moments for me. And then I ended the year with playing a 400, 500 place room of the cutting room. Again, and it was all people I didn't know. For so long, you play in front of friends and family and maybe a few random people that you pick up along the way. But this was the first time, that moment happened. And I think that was where I was just so gracious and so excited because I had that band. And then from that moment on, I just was really okay, obviously I love music, but live performance is truly my passion. And because there are some artists that love more, they're more recording artists, or they like creating the art of the album. And as much as obviously I love the art of songwriting and being in the studio, that's really not if you told me you could be an artist but you can only stay in the studio, I'd be yeah, no, I'd rather actually sing on the stage. I just want to be live on stage. And that's when I was okay, I'm going to be performing all the time. So, from 2022 to now, that's been my main focus. And then as far as, you asked if I ever get discouraged. Yeah, I crashed out about 4 days ago over this career choice. I mean, we mentioned it earlier, choosing to not do maybe the more typical route means that there's no blueprint. There's no right or wrong. You actually are just winging it. And, when I was a little younger, it was different. It's a lot easier to make decisions when you don't have any bills or responsibilities and you're younger and everything's taken care of and your job pays for your fun stuff. But now it's okay, well, I'm a actual adult and I love my music and I obviously always make it happen, but life is stressful. Life is not just what I want to do. There's other people in my life that are important that I have to show up for. There's other things that need my attention and it gets really draining sometimes. And then also to be a relatable songwriter, you have to also go and live your life, and it's hard, and financially it can get hard. You get really discouraged. Also too, the reality of it is you said you're 31. You're 31, right? I'm 30. Other people around you are hitting different milestones and you kind of look and you're what the fuck am I doing? Am I really far behind? And again, obviously, you have your crash out and you wake up and you're fine and you're yeah, no, I'm good. And you wipe it off and you just keep it moving. Mm-hmm. But it's not easy. I just remind myself, we have been conditioned for so long in life that this is what you should be doing. And I'm not trying to, the world is changing, as we all know. We're all experiencing a huge shift on just everyone's mindset. How our parents grew up and what they thought was acceptable is just very different nowadays. And I just think my biggest takeaway is instead of worrying so much about like my career and like it's like what kind of lifestyle is it that I'm comfortable with and what do I want to do? And listen, are there times where I'm like, what the hell kind of lifestyle did I fucking choose? Yes, absolutely. Like, why did I choose this when like everyone else has like this nice chunky paycheck at the end of every week or something? But I make it work. I live on my own. I do my thing. I travel a lot. I get to play all my music, but I crash out all the time. And then then the next day, I'll crash out. I'll call like my mom or voice memo a friend. I'm like, I don't understand. Like, what? I can't do this anymore. And then the next day they'll be like, hey, like just checking in. How you doing? I'm like, oh, I'm fine. They're like, oh, everything's fine. I'm like, or I'll text them like the next day, be like, oh my God, I had this great idea for like my set the next time I do it. And they're like, what? Or I'll just like send them like an edit from like I'll freak out. Like I'll get like a music video back and I'm like, I look like this is not what I wanted. Like this is not it. And then like the next day I'll like get like check-ins and then I'll be like, hey, look at this edit. They're like, I thought you did, like, what are you doing? I'm like, this is just the roller coaster ride. It could also be my hormones. I don't know. But I do think that I have like the last 8 years of my life, I've planted a lot of seeds and obviously I've been out on stage and I've been doing a lot and I have posts that show it and people have been following me, but more recently I feel like I'm finally like seeing like little buds and like little flowers sprouting. So even when I do get discouraged and upset, I remind myself, hey, if Kailie from 2 years ago knew what you were doing now, she'd be really, really proud of you. So I try to like, again, not compare to other people. I try to think of like my old self and how she would be like, wow, okay. You're doing like you're okay, you know? Because it's so easy for me to be like, well, I'm not doing this thing that I thought I was going to be doing by 30. It's like, yeah, but like your 28-year-old self didn't even think that this would be happening. So like, always just think of do it for you, you know?
Yeah, that's everything. Doing it for you. And I really like what you said about seeing the buds.
Yeah.
That makes everything worth it.
Little
When
buds.
you see even a little bit of improvement,
Little
a
green.
bit of light. That's what keeps you going at the end of the day. It doesn't have to be big things, but some movement. That's what gets you rolling. So. And
also too, I think I've noticed because like, again, I had like, okay, so what was funny actually is I played the cutting room and I was like, I said, it was like 400, 500 people there.
It's awesome.
The next gig I did a week later, there was 5 people in the audience.
That's how it goes.
5 people.
Humbling.
To the point I remember like getting on that stage and being like,
what happened?
and I still performed it, but I won't lie. Like I remember getting off the stage and I was on my way home and I was talking to my manager and I was like really upset. And, you know, again, like, and it happens. I'm human. Like,
totally understandable.
Totally normal.
Yeah.
And he was like, listen, like, this is just how it's going to be. And I was like, okay. And after that moment, I started to realize, yeah, like, there's going to be big moments. There's moments in my life that happen now where I'm like, holy fuck. Like, I played the Whiskey A Go-Go.
Oh, sick.
Yeah. Nice. That was really, really awesome. And it was a really nice, full crowd. And I remember getting off the stage and it was so euphoric. Like, so many people were like, oh my God, like follow me, this, that, and that. And I was on such a, like, I remember like after we went out for drinks and I'm like, oh my God, this is so exciting. And then like a week later, you're like back to a reality where it's like, okay, now you're back to like a different stage or like a different, or like I'll get off a stage sometimes and like not one person says one word and you're like, oh, but it's just like, that's the name of the game. So like, even when you hit these milestones, that's just, you hit the next plateau and then you hear and then you go boop. But to think that it's constantly like this is just you can't. And that's when you'll crash out. So I've slowly started to learn, no, like you have to be really comfortable with the little wins, the little tiny wins. As simple as like I just finished a music video and I'm like, oh, I'm really proud of this. So like that's a win. That's a win in my book. And I have to like I try to write things down, like little gratitude journal where I'm like
helpful.
Because it's so easy to be like, well, I did that, so why isn't this happening? And it's like,
it's not linear.
It's not, not at all.
Yeah, you're spot on when you say that. It's not linear, and it's humbling to have to come back down. But but you just remember the wins.
Yep.
Keep rolling.
It's life. So, that's life. Whether you're not, it doesn't have to even be a musician.
Yeah, and it's exciting too. And speaking of exciting, I know that you have a pretty big festival coming up that you're playing with personal friends of Kyle and I. Kyle, you're playing this festival too, so you guys can
look at that.
This.
Oh, wow.
Look at us on the same bill.
I did wear this shirt on purpose.
I didn't represent. It's a good shirt.
Big and Tall Festival.
Big and Tall. Talk about Big
first
and Tall
one.
first. I don't think that we've actually really talked about Big and Tall. Kyle, can you intro them?
Sure, yeah.
Intro Big and Tall.
Gabe and Tom. Gabe Valley, Tom McCormick.
Great guys.
Great guys. I remember meeting them right after they moved from their apartment studio to the big studio downstairs. How long have they been doing this for?
Because they were running they were running a studio out of their apartment first, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how long like Big and Tall has been in.
It's 3 or 4 years.
Is it Woodridge?
Woodridge.
I always get those two mixed up.
Me too, all the time.
Woodridge,
That's all I
See,
got.
now you're making me
Sorry,
myself.
sorry.
It's Woodridge.
Woodridge.
Woodridge is higher,
Okay.
Woodbridge is lower.
There
Right.
you go.
Okay.
Right? Because ridge is on a cliff and a bridge is...
You're asking us?
That's how it works.
I don't know.
I just trying to make up something to remember right now.
Okay.
So I
Don't
know.
quote us.
I like it. I like it. No, great guys. They started small, super cheap, just out of their own apartment and just doing stuff with friends. And it's really grown and blossomed. And
Oh,
now
yeah.
they have this collaboration with New Concepts for Living. And they're doing this big charity event. And we're both fortunate enough to know them for so long and be invited to play. It's very exciting.
I'm very excited. And you mentioned New Concepts for Living. And what's really nice about it is like all of the ticket sales, 100% of it goes to New Concepts of Living, which is an organization that helps promote the wellness of adults with special needs. So it's for a great cause. And if you can't make it, you could still donate.
You can still do
And
Ticket, donate,
it's an all-day event. It's all age event. It's going to be from 12 to 10 p.m. Do you know what time you go on?
Nope.
Oh my gosh. You gotta
Kyle's not...
Kyle doesn't know.
Not
I go on
on
at
top
9,
of
so you want to check me out.
I believe
I go on at 9 o'clock.
7-ish.
Oh, perfect. So we're not far off from each
Yeah.
other.
Yeah, there you go.
Because I'm always like, oh, anyone that's going on at 12 is going to be like, I'm not fucking staying until 9.
Kyle can warm the crowd.
I'm gonna
There you
be
go.
there all
You better be there at 9. I'll be
I'm
there
gonna
at
be
7.
there
I'm like,
all
I'll be there
day.
all day. Exactly. Well, yeah, like, I'm like, there's no way I won't be there all day. Like,
Yeah, plus
I
it's gonna be so
supporting.
fun.
Yeah, it's going to be
Yeah.
so much fun.
Yeah.
I want to see everybody.
Yeah.
And it's in a great area. That's what I also was like, guys, you picked such a great area because
Yeah.
even like the way I'm promoting
William
it,
Setter.
I'm like, you guys, people can go, like, there's going to be vendors there. There's a bar there. There's food there. But like, if you need a little break from music, your ears need a little break,
Podcast.
it's all walking.
Yep.
Yeah.
Great bars, great restaurants all around. So hopefully it's a beautiful Saturday. I'm praying because this weather has been
think it will be.
freaking ridiculous.
I am praying.
Like,
too.
what is this? Don't know. But
Best.
it's going to be really, really fun.
Yeah, seriously.
I'm very
Yeah,
excited.
I'm excited for you guys because like there aren't many things like this where it's like great local musicians all playing together and you guys have the community being studio clients too. So it's gonna be awesome. I wish I could go, but I'm gonna be
know.
on a hiking trip going out west for 2 weeks.
Good for you.
But
That's
I'm
really
pissed that I'm missing
exciting.
you guys.
Well, so
Sad.
there'll be plenty more festivals.
more.
If this goes well, hopefully
Tall
I will be
Fest isn't going
performing
anywhere.
more. We'll be performing
We'll be
more.
back, we'll
Well,
back.
you can
Or-
see more performances.
Kyle can FaceTime me while I'm on the mountain. And I can
Perfect.
be like,
If you have some
"Here you go."
service, that's
Yeah.
what we'll do.
There we go.
I love that.
We're not going anywhere. Big and Tall's not going anywhere. Hit them up for recording,
up.
rehearsals,
Yeah.
writing sessions. They offer all sorts of great services.
Yeah, they're fantastic. I'm so excited for
It
you
does.
guys.
And
It's gonna be great.
to go back to like the community thing, like I think they've done a really great job
Yeah.
of kind of getting people connected and
Together.
networking. It's a really good opportunity for everyone involved. So it's gonna be a really good time. So July 19th, if you're around, check it out. You can pick Kyle's band, but
We're here for Kailie.
the
Simpson.
okay.
For
So if you
That's
want to buy a
what
ticket, make sure you
Silver
pick
Stuff's all
Kailie Simpson, not general admission. So I get the credit for that ticket sale. Thank you.
Oh man,
Oh,
she got
that's
you
good.
on now.
No, that's
Sorry.
good. No,
Oh,
no.
man. No, we're so excited.
It's gonna be good.
I'm sure there will be some videos of it.
Oh, yeah,
but,
tons.
yeah, that's great. All right, sweet. So now we're at the point of the show where it's about to get a little weird,
I'm nervous.
but I think you'll like it. So this is our lightning round.
Okay.
This is where Kyle will read you some random questions that we really probably haven't even read yet, to be honest
no.
with you. They're
Definitely
totally
haven't
random. Like
read
some
yet.
of them will be really hard to answer and you'll just be like, what the hell is this?
I'll just make shit up.
But do your best.
Okay.
You missed.
I
should have drank.
That non-alcoholic beer might not help you, but
I feel like placebo almost. It's like I'm
yeah, placebo.
right with that.
Right
That's
it.
like the right
Right.
word. Or I'm like, I was even in the bathroom before, and I was like, because it tastes like beer.
Yeah.
So I'm like,
it's really, yeah,
Am I drinking right now? I think it feels like it.
that's it.
Yeah, it's like it's all It's all a mind game.
Yeah, it is.
All right, I'm ready.
But okay, so we do. Wow, I can't remember my own rules. 2 minutes.
About a minute.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Minute.
All right.
Minute on the clock. Going in. 3, 2, 1, go.
Hot dogs, yes or no?
Absolutely.
Electric toothbrush or regular toothbrush?
Electric.
Netflix or Hulu?
Depends on the show. Right now I'm on Netflix because Breaking Bad's on it.
Text or voice memo?
Voice memo.
Plan it or wing it?
I'm such a planner. I'm so type A.
Iced tea or lemonade?
Iced tea.
Birkenstocks or Uggs?
Uggs.
Palm tree or evergreen tree?
Oh, evergreens are so. Oh no. I can't pick both. Okay, I'll go with palm tree because.
Most unhinged thing on your notes app?
Oh God. Most unhinged thing. Most unhinged thing on my notes app. Probably. I don't know. Things I never would actually say to somebody, so I have to, write it out. I can't even share. Just
We'll let you pass on that.
yeah.
Where would you post up in a zombie apocalypse?
Oh, I don't want to survive those. I want to just die. Yeah.
Weirdest item you own?
Weirdest item I own. Oh, that's hard. Weirdest item I own? I don't even know. Weirdest. What do people think is weird in my house?
Most treasured piece of clothing?
Oh, I mean, I'm loving these freaking jeans. These boyfriend jeans are really anything. All my cheetah stuff. I love my cheetah jacket.
Bagel order?
It's very simple. Everything bagel with cream cheese.
Favorite New Jersey pizza?
Like the place?
Yeah.
Angeloni's.
Where is it?
In Caldwell. The thinny thin. You got to get the thinny thin.
Favorite Disney star when you were a kid?
Hannah Montana, Miley Cyrus, and the Jonas Brothers.
Yep, that sounds right.
Nick Jonas.
Would your FBI agent be proud of your search history?
Well, it's not. It's not problematic, but it's,
I think that would.
I think I'd be fine.
Yeah.
My ChatGPT is a little concerned with me, but FBI agent, I'm in the clear. ChatGPT, a little concerned.
What do you spiral about at 2 a.m.?
What do I? Oh. This. What the fuck am I doing? That's when I'm spiraling. Or I definitely overthink. I'll think about this later. I'll spiral about this at 2 a.m. I'll be like, what did I say?
Should have said that.
Or I shouldn't have said that. It's more not what I should have said. It's what I shouldn't say. It's never what I should say. It's always what I should not be saying.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
a good answer.
All right, ready? 3.
Oh,
Wait, there's
a favorite
2.
comedian?
Oh, Dave Chappelle? I don't know.
Hey, okay.
Yeah. Oh, I like Larry David.
Larry David.
Larry
Love Larry
David.
David.
Good one.
Yeah.
Hilarious. Oh man, great job with those. All right, sweet. So to wrap up, first of all, this has been awesome.
Yeah, I had a lot of
Loved
fun.
yapping with you.
Anytime.
Kailie Simpson, great yapper. We can attest in the best way.
I don't shut up.
Hand to
We
God.
have been having fun with her.
I'm making them say that.
Fun.
No, but you've been wonderful. Is there anything that you want to plug coming up? Any releases? We already talked about your show at Big and Tall, but anything besides that?
Well, the Big and Tall show, July 19th, don't forget. I'm actually very, very excited. I have a handful of new songs coming out, but this summer I have this trilogy type of vibe that it's just fun. It's not serious. It's a lot of fun rock and roll music. The first song that's going to be coming out is called Patti Smith, and it's coming out July 4th. That will be followed by 2 more songs in July and August. So it's just going to be a really fun summer, mindless, blasted in your car, windows down type of vibe, which I'm really excited about because a lot of my music, I think, sometimes have heavier messaging behind it. So this is just, I call these my fun little doodads. So my fun little doodads. So we got a few more weeks and then the first song will drop and then it'll follow by 2 more. So I'm really, really excited.
Amazing.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Stay tuned for the doodads.
Stay tuned for my little doodads.
Look out for those. Well, thank you so much for being on the show with us.
Thank
we really
you, guys.
appreciate it. And thank you to Upward Brewing Co. Your beer was delicious and we enjoyed it during the show today. And if you guys like this episode, make sure that you follow, subscribe, and check us out on Instagram. And we'll see you next time.